You're waiting for people to care, but here's the truth, they don't. Not because they're cruel, but because they're busy fighting their own battles, nursing their own wounds, chasing their own meaning. You walk into a room and think people are watching, judging, wondering, but most of them don't even notice. They're too wrapped up in the storms of their own mind to pay attention to yours. And maybe, just maybe, that's not a tragedy. Maybe it's freedom. Because if nobody's watching, if nobody's judging, if nobody really cares, then what would you do just for yourself? Who would you become if the only opinion that mattered was your own? Pause. Let that settle. How much time have you spent hoping someone would notice you, affirm you, applaud you? How many days were ruined because a message wasn't answered, a post didn't get likes, a person didn't smile back? You built your self-worth on sand, and then wondered why the waves kept washing it away. This isn't blame. It's an awakening. You're not alone in this pattern. We all, at some point, tie our sense of identity to how others perceive us. But the Stoics? They taught something radically different. They didn't say nobody cares with bitterness. They said it with clarity and with liberation. If you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize you have compromised your integrity. Marcus Aurelius, your value doesn't increase when someone claps, and it doesn't vanish when they walk away. It just is, rooted in your choices, your conduct, your internal compass. In a world obsessed with attention, validation, and approval, the Stoics whisper, none of that matters, because real power is quiet, and it comes from within. We are often told, be strong. But what does that mean? To the Stoics, strength is not volume. It's not dominance. It's not charisma or charm or getting what you want. It's this: not dominating others, but mastering yourself. Inner power is the ability to stand steady while the world shakes. It's to walk calmly through fire because you've trained your mind not to burn. You don't lash out. You don't beg to be seen. You don't bend in the face of noise. You choose. You act. You respond. From principle, not impulse. This is the Stoic way. So what gets in the way of that? Simple. We try to control the things we can't. We think, they should like me. Or, this shouldn't have happened. Or, why don't they support me? But Epictetus said, it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Let that hit. The breakup didn't ruin you. Your thoughts about the breakup did. The rejection didn't define you. Your interpretation of it did. You're not hurt by events. You're hurt by the story you tell yourself about those events. And that's where the work begins. This video isn't here to coddle you. It's here to free you. To give you a tool set forged over centuries. By emperors, slaves, warriors, poets, who all faced the same chaos we do now. You'll learn 12 lessons. Not to impress anyone. Not to fix your life overnight, but to slowly build the foundation of a life rooted in inner strength. So when someone ignores you, when plans fall apart, when the world turns away, you won't shatter. You'll rise, quiet, unshaken, self-anchored. And here's the promise. This might just be the video that changes everything for you. Not because of what I say, but because of what you will start to see, and do, and become. So stay. Let this be the turning point. Let this be the moment you stop waiting for permission, and start reclaiming your power. The Stoics can't walk your path, but they left you the compass. Let's pick it up now, and begin. Stop seeking validation. Sounds simple. But if you pause for a moment, really pause, and look inside, you may find that much of what you do each day is not fully your own. You post something online and wait, not to express but to be affirmed. You speak in a meeting and scan the faces looking for a nod. You say yes when you meant no, just to avoid disappointing someone. You've made yourself an actor in a play written by someone else, and it's exhausting. If you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize you have compromised your integrity. Marcus Aurelius. Not maybe, not potentially, but certainly you've compromised your integrity, because when you chase approval, you hand over your compass. You make other people the judges of your worth. You become pliable, changing shape to fit their expectations. You're not alone in this. It's human. It's natural. But that doesn't mean it's wise. Let's ask a harder question. Why do you seek validation in the first place? Maybe it's fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of being forgotten. Or maybe it's habit. From childhood, from school, from a world that taught you. Be good, be liked, be pleasing. But what if being liked isn't the goal? What if being whole, honest, and grounded was enough? That's what the Stoics believed, and they lived it. Imagine this. A man walks into a room quietly. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't beg to be seen. He simply is. Solid. Calm. Directed. He knows who he is, and that's all the approval he needs. That's not arrogance. That's clarity. That's Stoicism. So how do you stop seeking validation? Not overnight, but step by step. Here are a few. 1. Notice when you're performing. When you say something or post something, ask yourself, would I still do this if nobody noticed? If the answer is no, that's a clue. 2. Anchor yourself to your values. Instead of asking, do they like me? Ask, was I kind? Was I honest? Was I just? You shift the focus from their reaction to your intention. 3. Journal. Write. One thing you did today that made you proud. One time you sought approval and what you might do differently next time. This isn't shame, it's self-awareness. 4. Practice small acts without applause. Pick up trash when no one's watching. Compliment someone anonymously. Create for the joy of creating. The more you live without needing recognition, the stronger you become. Here's the paradox. When you stop trying to be impressive, you become powerful. When you stop asking, do they see me? You start seeing yourself. And slowly the need for applause fades. You replace it with peace, with direction, with a deeper sense of, I am doing what's right even if no one claps. This isn't detachment. This is sovereignty. You still love. You still connect. You still feel joy when someone sees you. But you don't need it. It doesn't define you. It doesn't break you. You show up not to be validated, but to be real. So today, try this. Say something honest even if it's unpopular. Do something good even if no one sees. Let silence follow your actions without needing it to be filled. Be a little more like the Stoics, rooted, whole, unmoved by praise, untouched by judgment. Let your integrity be enough, because it is. Control the controllable. That's it. 3 words. And yet, if you let them, they will change the way you live. You wake up to a gray sky. You didn't ask for rain. You didn't schedule bad traffic. You didn't choose the message that arrived at 7:43 a.m. and made your stomach drop. And yet there it is. The weather, the traffic, the words of others, the chaos of the world. Your instinct? To resist. To say, why today? to fight against reality as if it's an enemy, to wish it were different. But the Stoics whisper back, don't. Some things are up to us and some things are not. Epictetus. There is clarity in this, freedom in this, and power, deep power, in accepting this truth. Because the moment you divide your world into two lists, you begin to take your power back. List 1, not up to me. What others say, what others feel, what others do, what happened yesterday, what may happen tomorrow, what's already been lost. List 2, up to me. What I think, what I choose, how I respond, what values I live by, what meaning I assign to this moment. The first list? Let it go. Not with indifference, but with wisdom. You don't carry what isn't yours to bear. The second list? Guard it like gold, because it is. It's all you truly have. You don't control if your voice shakes, but you control whether you still speak. You don't control if the world applauds, but you control the effort you bring. You don't control what happens today, but you control how you greet it. With clenched fists or with open eyes? Let's ground this in reality. Imagine you're about to give a presentation. Your heart is pounding. Your hands sweat. You're terrified of judgment, of forgetting, of failing. You want it to be easy. You want it to go perfectly. But the Stoic inside you says, none of that is up to you. What is up to you? Speaking with clarity, preparing well, standing up even if afraid. Suddenly the weight shifts. You stop trying to force the outcome. You start focusing on the input, on your domain. This is the mindset of a Stoic. To move through life like a captain in a storm. He cannot calm the sea, but he can hold the wheel. He can trim the sails. He can guide the ship through the dark. That's you. You don't need perfect conditions. You need clarity and courage. So what does this look like in your daily life? If someone criticizes you unfairly, pause. Ask, can I control what they think? If not, let it go. If a plan falls apart, ask, what's within my control now? Redirect. If you feel overwhelmed, write 2 lists. Cross out everything on the not mine side. Focus on the rest. And slowly you stop flailing. You stop chasing. You start living. Present. Intentional. Grounded. Here's the paradox. The more you let go of what isn't yours, the stronger your grip becomes on what truly matters. You stop wasting energy trying to bend the universe to your will, and you start bending your character to your values. You become calm in chaos, not because the world is quieter, but because you are. A final thought from Epictetus. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. So next time life throws something at you, before you react, pause and ask, is this up to me? And if it's not, let it pass. Not with defeat, but with dignity. You've got more important work to do. Accept harsh realities. Let's not pretend life is always kind. Let's not sugarcoat pain. And let's not preach positivity when what you really feel is pressure, loss, and frustration. You've had days where nothing made sense, where the weight felt unbearable, where you questioned why things had to happen the way they did. And you're not wrong to feel that. But what if, instead of resisting what is, you welcomed it? Don't hope that events will turn out the way you want. Welcome events in whichever way they happen. Epictetus. This isn't just about accepting reality. It's about inviting it in. Like a storm you no longer hide from because you've stopped pretending it's not real. Let's be honest. You didn't get the job. They didn't stay. The market crashed. The news was worse than expected. Someone betrayed you. You feel like life owes you an explanation. But here's the truth Stoicism offers. Life is not a contract. There's no promise of fairness. There's only what is, and how you respond. Pain is part of the program. So is failure. So is disappointment. But suffering? Suffering is optional. It's what happens when you demand reality be different than it is. That gap between what is and what you think should be, that's where the suffering lives. The Stoics ask us to close the gap, not by changing the world, but by changing our relationship to it. So what does that look like? Let's take an example. You had a plan for this year. You were going to reach that goal, move to that city, be with that person. Now none of it happened. You feel behind, lost, embarrassed. But here's what a Stoic would do. They'd step back and say, this is reality now. Not what I hoped for, but what is. What will I do with it? No mourning over an alternate timeline. No rehearsing a different past. Just presence and purpose. Right here. Right now. It's not passive. It's power. It's saying, I don't control the waves, but I choose how I swim. And sometimes, that swim starts with letting go. Letting go of how you thought things would unfold. Letting go of the idea that life has to be easy to be meaningful. There's a beautiful toughness in this mindset. Not coldness, but clarity. You stop labeling things as unfair. You start labeling them as training. This challenge? A chance to build discipline. This rejection? A redirection toward your real path. This loss? A moment to practice grace. Nothing is wasted if you respond with intention, and still you're allowed to feel. This isn't denial. You can cry. You can grieve. You can sit in the ashes of what was and say, this hurts. But when you rise with a fire that wasn't there before. A fire that says, what happened happened. Now it's my move. One Stoic practice that helps with this? Negative visualization. It sounds dark, but it's healing. Imagine the worst happening, not to dwell, but to prepare. And when it doesn't happen, gratitude floods in. And when it does, you're not shattered. You're steady. You saw the wave coming, and you learn to breathe through it. The world won't always give you what you want, but that doesn't mean you're powerless. It means you're human. And if you embrace that truth, you stop resisting the fire. You start using it to shape you, to harden you, to cleanse away what doesn't serve. So the next time reality feels harsh, stop and say, this is not what I wanted, but it is what I've been given. So what will I do now? As a person of courage, of principle, of presence. Because life won't wait, but you don't have to chase it. You can meet it, face to face, with open hands. Don't complain, act. You've probably done it. We all have. You tell someone how unfair things are. You list what's going wrong. You vent, you sigh, you scroll, you stew. And in that moment, maybe it feels good. Maybe it feels like movement. But if we're honest, it's not. It's stillness, stagnation. It's rehearsing your frustration instead of releasing it. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. That quote hits like a punch to the chest. Because Marcus isn't just asking you to stop complaining. He's asking you to stop discussing and start embodying. You don't need another debate. You need direction. You need action. Complaining is easy. Anyone can point to a problem. Acting? That takes strength. It takes self-leadership. It takes humility, because action means you stop waiting to be rescued. You become the answer. Let's look at some examples. You don't like your job. You've been talking about quitting for months, but you haven't updated your resume. You haven't applied anywhere. You haven't asked for feedback. So what's really happening? You're stuck in the story. The story where you're a victim and the job is the villain. The Stoics would say, you've forgotten your agency. They wouldn't tell you to stay. They wouldn't tell you to quit. They'd ask, what can you do today that honors your principles? Or maybe it's your fitness. You say, I'm out of shape. I'm tired. I don't have time. But have you done 10 push-ups today? Walked around the block? Stretched? No. Then don't blame your body. Blame your inertia and change it. The Stoics weren't cruel. They were clear. They knew life is hard. They knew circumstances can overwhelm. But they believed deeply that virtue is expressed in action. Not thought, not feeling, not reaction. You show who you are by what you do. That doesn't mean hustle 24/7. It doesn't mean no excuses, grind harder. This isn't toxic productivity. It's alignment between what you value and what you embody. It's integrity that moves. Try this. When something frustrates you, instead of complaining, pause. Ask yourself, what can I do right now with what I have? What is one small action that aligns with my values? How can I use this moment to grow stronger, wiser, calmer? And then do it, even if it's small, especially if it's small, because action compounds. A tiny step today becomes clarity tomorrow. Think of Seneca, who said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Wasting time doesn't just mean watching TV. It means spinning in circles, thinking about acting, but never acting. It's letting the fire burn you instead of letting it fuel you. So if you're angry, channel it. If you're sad, express it, then shape it. If you're overwhelmed, start with one thing. Clean the room. Make the call. Lift the weight. Write the line. Own the moment. There's dignity in taking the smallest action, even when the world feels massive, because that's how the Stoics lived. Not waiting for the perfect condition, but starting here with what they had in the mess. Here's a phrase to carry with you. Don't speak the weight, lift it. It doesn't mean silence. It means agency. When others rant, you realign. When others spiral, you step. When others freeze, you move. And in that movement, you come alive again. So the next time your lips are ready to form a complaint, pause and move your hands, your feet, your will instead. Because the Stoics believe this. The world doesn't need more critics. It needs more creators, more rebuilders, more doers. Be one. Practice voluntary discomfort. This one sounds strange. In a world that constantly chases comfort, soft beds, fast service, soothing content, the idea of choosing discomfort seems backwards. But not to the Stoics. To them, comfort wasn't strength. It was seduction. And if you indulged in it too often, you'd forget how to be strong when life eventually got hard. And life always gets hard. Set aside now and then a number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare. Seneca. What? To remind yourself that you can. To train your mind to endure what others flee from. To stop fearing the worst because you've lived it and you're still standing. Seneca was one of the richest men in Rome. And yet he fasted, wore simple clothes, and practiced sleeping on the floor. He wasn't punishing himself. He was preparing himself. Because he knew fortune is fickle. And when the tide turns, the prepared don't drown, they swim. Voluntary discomfort isn't about suffering for show. It's about resilience. It's about building an inner voice that says, I don't need everything to go my way to be okay. And that voice, that's your power. Here are some simple ways to practice it. Cold showers. Not to be macho. To train your nervous system. To say, I can enter discomfort and remain calm. Fasting or delaying gratification. Skip a meal or wait longer than usual. Feel the hunger and observe it, not react to it. Exposing yourself to boredom. No music, no phone. Just you and the walk or the waiting room or the silence. Wearing plain clothes. Skip the fashion. See how it feels to walk through the world unnoticed and not care. Sleeping on the floor or with minimal bedding. Once a week. To feel what you're afraid of losing. Saying no to indulgence. Not always, but sometimes. Choose restraint when you want excess. When you do these things, your body might resist. Your mind might scream, why are we doing this? And that's the point, because in that space, between discomfort and your reaction to it, you'll find awareness, stillness, strength. You're no longer a slave to sensation. You're the one steering the ship. Let's look at the modern world. Everything is designed to remove friction. One-click orders, same-day delivery, food in minutes, instant likes. But in removing discomfort, we've also removed resilience. We've weakened our ability to tolerate boredom, hunger, effort, silence. And so we panic at the slightest inconvenience. We collapse when challenged. The Stoics would ask you, are you living or are you being coddled? Because the coddled mind, though comfortable, is fragile. And a fragile life is one phone call away from collapse. Voluntary discomfort is the antidote. It inoculates you. It makes hardship familiar, not fatal. Here's the paradox. The more you face discomfort by choice, the less it controls you by force. You've already been there. You've already stood in the cold, in the silence, in the absence. And you learned, I didn't die. I adapted. I grew. Seneca also said, it is in times of security that the soul should prepare itself for difficulty. Don't wait for the storm to start building shelter. Build it now, brick by brick. Cold shower by skipped meal. Restraint by repetition. And when the storm does come, you won't be the one crying out. You'll be the one standing still. So here's your challenge. This week, choose one small discomfort. Lean into it. Observe your mind's reaction without obeying it. Then notice what's on the other side. Not pain, but power. And with time, those small voluntary hardships become something else. A quiet confidence, a quiet pride, a quiet voice that whispers, I can take it because I've trained for this. Embrace your mortality. You could leave life right now. Pause. Let that sink in, not as a morbid thought, but as a sacred one. This isn't about fear. This is about focus. Because once you truly understand that your time is limited, everything changes. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoics called it memento mori. Remember that you must die, not to scare you, but to wake you up. Because death, they knew, is the great clarifier, the great refiner, the great equalizer. It strips away what doesn't matter. It sharpens what does. You think you have time. We all do. We say, I'll start next week. I'll say it when I'm ready. I'll fix it later. But what if there is no later? What if this moment right here is the only guarantee you ever get? Imagine living with that awareness. You'd speak more honestly, love more openly, forgive more quickly. You'd stop chasing things that don't nourish you. You'd start planting seeds that actually matter. Because when death is in the room, ego steps out. There's no space for pretense, only presence. This isn't theoretical. This is ancient practice. Seneca said, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing." He didn't mean panic. He meant priority. He meant live now, not recklessly, but reverently. And here's the beauty. When you remember death, you don't live less, you live more. You taste your coffee more fully. You hug a little longer. You listen more deeply. You hold fewer grudges. You waste less time. Death awareness creates life appreciation, because what you truly see is finite. You treasure. Here are some ways to practice this. 1. Look at your calendar. Ask, if I had 1 month left, would this still be on here? If the answer is no, reconsider why it's there. 2. End the day with reflection. Before you sleep, whisper to yourself, if this were my last day, did I live it well? 3. Write your own eulogy. How do you want to be remembered? Now reverse engineer your life to match that vision. 4. Confront discomfort with urgency. The difficult conversation, the risk, the apology. What are you waiting for? Time doesn't owe you convenience. Now, this practice isn't about being gloomy. It's about being awake to your values, to your relationships, to your moment. It doesn't make you less joyful. It makes your joy honest, because it's not joy built on distraction. It's joy built on full presence. Think about this. If you had 1 year left, what would you stop doing? And more importantly, what would you finally start? Would you chase status or savor connection? Would you hoard things or share them? Would you scroll endlessly or sit still with someone you love? Memento mori isn't about dying. It's about starting to live. And it doesn't require a drastic change. It just asks for depth. Drink your tea slowly. Speak your truth gently. Offer your kindness freely. Choose the real over the rushed, because the clock is ticking. And that's not a threat. That's a blessing. Here's the paradox. When you embrace death, you stop fearing life. You stop needing guarantees. You stop postponing your soul's work. You simply show up, whole, open, unshakable. The Stoics didn't avoid death. They befriended it. They sat with it in quiet moments. They walked with it through crowded streets. They carried it not as a burden, but as a compass. So should you. Because one day you will leave life. But before that, you have the chance to truly arrive. Right here. Right now. Let that shape what you do next. Don't let praise or criticism define you. You're doing well and someone says, you're brilliant. You make a mistake and someone says, you're worthless. Both comments echo in your mind. One lifts you, the other stings. But both hold the same danger. They become your mirror. That's what the Stoics warn us about. Living by the opinions of others. Ambition means tying your well-being to what other people say or do. Sanity means tying it to your own actions. Marcus Aurelius. There's a sharp truth here. If you rise and fall based on praise, you've handed over your stability. If you shrink or explode based on criticism, you've made someone else your master. But let's be clear. It's not that praise is bad, or that criticism is evil. It's that you can't be ruled by either. Because if applause is your oxygen, then silence will suffocate you. And if judgment is your enemy, you'll waste your life trying to please shadows. The Stoics invite us to return to one source, your own principles. What do you know to be right? What do you value? What's the standard you set? That becomes your compass. Not applause, not rejection. Think of a craftsman. She works quietly in her shop. People walk by. Some admire, some ignore, some laugh. But she doesn't stop to chase their compliments. She doesn't crumble at their critiques. She just works because she knows what she's building. She sees the blueprint in her mind. That's you. When someone praises you, say, "This person sees something they admire. Good. But I don't need it to continue." When someone insults you, say, "This person projects something painful. I don't need to absorb it." What matters is not what they say, but what you do next. Do you let praise lull you into complacency? Do you let criticism paralyze your efforts? Or do you return to the work, to the values, to the still point inside you? Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, had crowds cheering him, and yet he reminded himself, it is all just noise, dust, echoes. None of it touches the soul. He practiced humility, not to appear modest, but to stay grounded, to remind himself that external voices are unstable, but the voice of conscience, that's eternal. Try this. When you receive praise, don't reject it, just reposition it. Say to yourself, that's a reflection, not a definition. I will be grateful but not dependent. When you receive criticism, don't ignore it, just filter it. Is there truth here I can use? If yes, learn. If no, release. Here's a practice from Epictetus. Whenever you are praised or blamed, ask, did I act according to reason? Did I follow my principles? If yes, you've already won. If no, adjust, not because someone scolded you, but because you want to be better. This mindset is freeing. It means you don't have to perform. You don't have to constantly explain. You don't have to impress strangers or silence critics. You just have to be consistent, in action, in intention, in principle. Think of how much time we lose to reputation management, crafting the perfect post, reading comments over and over, replaying what someone said in a meeting, obsessing over how we're perceived. The Stoics remind us, you don't control what people think. You only control what you bring into the world. Let that be your focus. The greatest freedom is not wealth, not status, not even time. It's the ability to walk through the world, unmoved by flattery, unshaken by criticism, not because you're cold, but because you're clear. You know who you are. You know what you stand for, and you don't need permission to keep walking. So next time someone praises you, smile. Next time someone criticizes you, reflect. Then keep moving, keep building, keep returning to your path, because the voice that matters most is the one you speak with your actions. Live with integrity even when unseen. No one is watching. No one will know if you cut corners, if you say one thing but do another, if your public self sparkles while your private self stumbles. But you'll know, and that's enough, because the Stoics believe that your character isn't who you are when you're praised. It's who you are when no one is looking. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Marcus Aurelius. Think about that. Someone lies to you. Someone cheats you. Someone wrongs you. You could retaliate. You could match their dishonor with more dishonor. Or you could hold the line. Your line. The line you drew long ago based on your principles, not your mood. That's integrity. Integrity means being whole, undivided, not perfect, but aligned. When your words match your actions, when your thoughts match your values, when your conduct matches your conscience, even if no one sees it, even if no one applauds, especially then. The modern world doesn't often reward this. It rewards visibility, virality, image. But Stoicism reminds us, what's visible isn't always what's valuable. There are men and women walking quietly, who live with astonishing integrity, and the world never claps. But they sleep peacefully. They walk proudly, because they know, I am not hiding from myself. Ask yourself, what do I do when no one is watching? Do I help without credit? Do I resist temptations when no one would find out? Do I tell the truth even when it costs me? These are hard questions, but they're the ones that shape your life. Because your external reputation can be damaged or built in a day. But your internal reputation, that takes a lifetime, and you carry it everywhere. Here's what integrity looks like practically. Returning the money you found even if no one saw. Not exaggerating your story to impress. Doing the hard task even if no one will know it was you. Speaking honestly, gently, even when silence would be easier. Showing up for a friend, not for praise, but because it's right. These aren't dramatic acts. They're quiet ones. But they form your moral spine. Epictetus said, "It is not he who gives abuse or blows who insults, but the view we take of these things as insulting." So when others act without integrity, you don't need to mirror them. You just need to mirror your values. Your compass is internal. That's the Stoic path. One of the most powerful questions you can ask. Would I still do this if no one ever knew? The answer is yes. That's integrity. It's the choice to be honest when lying would gain you approval. To be kind when cruelty would feel justified. To walk away when revenge is tempting. Because the Stoic goal is not to win by the world's terms, but to live by your own. Let's be real. This is not easy. Sometimes doing the right thing feels like losing, but it's not. You're winning something invisible, something untouchable. You're building an inner life, and that's what sustains you when the external world crumbles. There's a quiet pride in integrity, not arrogance. Not self-righteousness, but stillness. The kind of stillness that says, I didn't betray myself today. I stayed true. And that feeling, it's worth more than any applause. So the next time you're tempted to break your own code, not because it's right, but because it's easy, pause. Remember, who you are alone is who you are always. Build that version with care. Because when the storms come, and the spotlight fades, and the noise dies down, that's the version of you who will still be standing, and still be proud. Say less, do more. Words are light. Actions carry weight. We live in a time when everyone has something to say. Opinions, affirmations, arguments, identities shouted into the wind. But the Stoics remind us that it is not how much you say, but how well you live, that defines your strength. Let your philosophy be plain, a simple life and unassuming habits. Epictetus, a simple life, unassuming habits, not a loud brand, not a viral persona, just truth lived quietly, not because you want to be unnoticed, but because you know what truly matters doesn't require attention. Think of this. You don't need to post your discipline. You don't need to narrate your goodness. You don't need to announce your growth. You just need to do it. Let the routine speak. Let your consistency echo. Let your life do the talking. This doesn't mean silence always, but it does mean restraint. It means checking your motive before you speak. Am I adding value? Am I clarifying or just projecting? Am I saying this to connect or to be seen? Because sometimes we speak not to express truth, but to distract ourselves from it. The Stoic voice is not loud. It's clear. It cuts through chaos not with volume, but with calm direction. Imagine walking into a room of noise, everyone shouting, performing, demanding, and in the corner, someone is just doing the work, chopping wood, carrying water, focused, humble, steady. That's the Stoic. Modern culture encourages noise. We're measured in likes, retweets, shares. But Stoic strength isn't viral. It's visible in how you hold yourself, in how you show up when there's no camera, in how you respond when others react. Try this. For one day, say less. Don't interrupt. Don't explain yourself. Don't rush to prove. Just listen, notice, and see what happens. You may feel invisible, but slowly you'll feel something else, centered. Because silence, chosen intentionally, is a form of power. Seneca said, "Speech that is restrained by reason will be modest and brief." This is not about being timid. It's about being anchored. A river doesn't announce its power. It flows. A flame doesn't explain itself. It burns. And you? You don't need to declare your values. You live them. Examples. Instead of telling someone you're reliable, show up. Instead of posting motivational quotes, do the hard thing when it's boring. Instead of arguing online, spend that hour deepening your craft. Instead of defending your character, let time reveal your consistency. That's how trust is built. Not in words but in days, patterns, presence. Quiet strength is real strength, not because it hides, but because it's rooted. You're not swayed by every emotion, every opinion, every provocation. You know your direction. You walk it. So here's the shift. Less explaining, more embodying, less asserting, more aligning, less noise, more presence. Because when your life speaks clearly, your mouth doesn't need to, and people will feel that. They'll feel the gravity of someone who lives what they believe, someone who says less, but when they speak, every word lands. Focus on the present moment. You're not here. Your body might be, but your mind, it's tangled in yesterday's mistakes, or racing through tomorrow's fears. This is the silent epidemic, disconnection from the now. And the Stoics, they saw it clearly. They taught that strength isn't found in the future, and healing isn't found in the past. It's in this moment, and how fully you live it. Do not let your mind be distracted by all the things you cannot control. Anchor it to the present. Seneca, the present is all you own. The future is imagination. The past is memory. But this breath, this step, this choice, that's real. That's power. How often do you miss your life? You're at dinner but checking emails. You're with friends but scrolling headlines. You're walking but thinking about what you'll say in a meeting. And then the moment is gone. You were alive, but absent. Stoicism demands better. It asks, can you stay? Stay in the room. Stay in the breath. Stay with what is, not what was or might be. Marcus Aurelius wrote, confine yourself to the present. Simple, but radical, because the present is uncomfortable. It has no filters, no fantasy, just truth, your tension, your joy, your impulse to run. But in staying, truly staying, you build presence, and presence becomes peace. Try this. When walking, just walk. No music, no phone. Feel your feet meet the earth. When eating, just eat. Taste each bite. Smell it. Don't rush to the next. When listening, just listen. Don't plan your reply. Hear the other person fully. These are not spiritual tricks. They are discipline. Because your attention is your most valuable asset, and the world is desperate to steal it. Think about this. Every time you're distracted, you give away a piece of your life. Not later, now. And those tiny leaks, they add up to years. Stoicism isn't about becoming robotic. It's about becoming aware. And awareness begins with this moment, this task, this breath. Here's the Stoic method for returning to the present. Name what's real. I'm sitting in a chair. I'm breathing. I'm safe. Release what isn't. I can't control what she thinks. I don't need to fix tomorrow. Choose one thing to fully experience. This sip of tea. This page of a book. This stretch. And then, just stay. Even if it's boring. Even if your mind wants to run. Especially then. Seneca warned, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." He meant that we rehearse pain before it arrives. We pre-live failure. We pre-mourn loss. We drown in thoughts that haven't even come true. And what do we lose in return? The only thing that is truly ours. The moment we're in. Let go of the myth that multitasking makes you productive. It doesn't. It makes you fractured. Let go of the belief that worrying is preparation. It's not. It's paralysis. Let go of the habit of delay. I'll enjoy life when you're richer, fitter, less anxious. The Stoics would ask, are you breathing? Then you're ready. This moment is sacred, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. It's not borrowed, not theoretical. It's alive right now, and so are you. So the next time your mind races ahead, or gets caught in regret, pause, breathe, return. Ask yourself, what am I missing by not being here? Then reclaim your place, in your body, in your breath, in your life, because this isn't practice. This is it. Live it. Let go of entitlement. You deserve nothing. Not in a harsh way, but in the most freeing way imaginable. The world doesn't owe you success. It doesn't owe you happiness, or love, or clarity, or fairness. That sounds cold until you realize, if nothing is owed, then everything is a gift. And every step forward is yours to earn. Life is not unfair. It is indifferent. The Stoics didn't complain that life was unjust. They accepted its neutrality and moved anyway. They didn't sit waiting for life to hand them peace. They built it, brick by brick, within themselves. And so can you. Entitlement is a trap. It whispers, they should see my worth. They should treat me better. I should already be there. But that mindset breeds bitterness, because the world is not tailored to your feelings. It's shaped by your effort. Let go of should. Trade it for can. Not they should help me, but I can help myself. Not I should be winning, but I can keep growing. When you drop entitlement, you unlock energy. No more waiting. No more blaming. No more fantasizing about being rescued. Just clarity, responsibility, action. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Entitlement feeds craving. Gratitude feeds contentment. Which one are you practicing? Here's a reflection. Do you get angry when things don't go your way? Do you feel the world owes you because you've worked hard? Do you secretly believe other people should treat you better just because? It's natural, but it's dangerous because it makes your well-being dependent on external behavior, and that gives away your power. Letting go of entitlement doesn't mean you accept injustice. It means you stop waiting for justice to move. You act, you build, you choose your response, because the world might not reward your efforts, but your character will. This is how a Stoic thinks. No one praises me, I still act with virtue. I wasn't chosen, I still prepare with discipline. They forgot me, I still show up with purpose. You don't act for reward, you act because it's right. Imagine a craftsman. She shows up every day whether clients call or not. She sharpens her tools whether she's paid or not. She pours care into her work, not because she's owed success, but because that's who she is. That's what Stoicism asks of you. Detach your effort from expectation. Attach it to your principle. Try this. Write a list titled, "What I Think I'm Owed." Be brutally honest. Recognition, comfort, money, fairness. Next to each item, write, "What I can control." Cross out everything else. Focus only on that list. The rest, let it go. You'll feel lighter, clearer, stronger, because now you're moving from ownership, not obligation. Life becomes simpler when you stop negotiating with it. It doesn't sign contracts. It doesn't guarantee outcomes. But you can guarantee one thing, your response. And that's everything. Entitlement says, "Why me?" Stoicism says, "Now what?" Entitlement says, "I deserve more." Stoicism says, "I'll become more." Entitlement waits. Stoicism acts. You get to choose. So let go. Let go of needing fairness. Let go of needing credit. Let go of needing life to feel easy. And step into the only thing that ever mattered. Your power to respond with grace, effort, and courage. You're not owed a path, but you can make one, step by step. And that's more powerful than anything the world could ever hand you. Keep going, even when it's hard. You've come this far. There were days you didn't think you would. Moments you nearly gave up. Seasons of silence, confusion, and fatigue. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still walking, still trying. That matters. If it's endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. Marcus Aurelius. These words are not cold. They're a challenge. A hand on your shoulder from someone who's walked through storms. Because there are times when life is not gentle. It won't slow down for your pain. It won't answer all your questions. It just is. And the Stoic doesn't ask it to change. They ask themselves to rise. You won't always feel strong. That's okay. Courage isn't the absence of exhaustion. It's choosing movement through it. You don't need to be on fire with motivation. You just need to take the next step. One more breath. One more repetition. One more minute of silence before reacting. Persistence doesn't look like heroism. It often looks like simplicity. Showing up. Taking the walk. Closing the tab of distraction. Returning to the task. Saying no again. Saying yes again. No fanfare. Just discipline. Seneca reminds us, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Your struggle is not proof that you're failing. It's proof that you're forging. And every challenge, every ache, every stretch is making you more capable. But here's what's vital. Don't confuse feeling like quitting with a reason to quit. That voice in your head that says, "This is pointless. This isn't working." It's not truth. It's fatigue. Let it speak. Then keep walking. Imagine a mountain climber. She doesn't evaluate the journey with every step. She just climbs. Some days it's windy. Some days it's clear. But the peak doesn't move. And neither does she. You are that climber. Here are some practices to endure. Breathe before reacting. In moments of pain, pause. Return to breath. Then choose. Remember why you started. Write it down. Read it when you forget. Break the hard into small. Not the whole report, just the first sentence. Not the full workout, just the first rep. Silence the inner judge. Progress is not perfection. It's persistence. Persistence doesn't always mean charging forward. Sometimes it means staying still when everything tells you to flee. Sometimes it means resting, not as escape, but as preparation. The Stoics knew this. Even warriors need stillness. Even thinkers need sleep. Even leaders need retreat. But none of that means giving up. It means refueling so you can go on. When you feel tired, remember this. You're not alone. Every human in history has stood where you are, at the edge of doubt. The ones who rose, they didn't have better conditions. They just chose not to quit. And that choice, again and again, became their greatness. You may not control how long the storm lasts, but you can control how long you stand. You can whisper to yourself, "I'll go 5 more minutes," then 5 more. And soon a day has passed, then a week, then a life shaped by resilience. You don't need to see the finish line. You just need to take the next honest step, with faith, with strength, with the quiet knowledge that every moment you keep going, you're becoming unshakable. This is the last and most powerful Stoic lesson. Keep going. When it's hard, when it's lonely, when you're not sure. Because showing up for your life, especially when it's messy, is the greatest act of courage there is. And in that act, you reclaim yourself, over and over again. Let's take a breath. You've come with me through 12 Stoic lessons, not abstract ideas, but tools for life, for strength, for clarity. And maybe now something has shifted, not in your world, but in your way of meeting it. Because that's what Stoicism is about. Not escaping the chaos, but standing in the center of it, calm, awake, whole. You don't need to be a sage. You don't need a perfect life. You just need the courage to return, again and again, to what's within your control. Your thoughts, your actions, your integrity, your presence. These small, invisible choices, they're how transformation happens. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're not here to be immune to pain. You're not here to chase applause. You're here to live, fully, honestly, wisely. You're here to walk your path, even when it's hard, even when no one claps, even when no one understands. Because in the end, you'll look back on your life and ask not, did they love me enough? But, did I show up? Did I hold fast to what mattered? Did I become someone I can respect? The Stoics believe that your soul is shaped not in comfort, but in choice, in how you respond to the hard thing, the boring thing, the unjust thing, the inevitable thing. And if you choose well, not perfectly but consistently, you'll build something stronger than reputation or praise or wealth. You'll build inner power. So take these lessons with you. You don't need validation. You need virtue. You can't control everything, but you can control enough. You are mortal, but your actions echo. You'll be tested. but you are not fragile. Let the world move how it must. But you remain centered, rooted, clear, unshaken. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. And if that sounds like the life you want, keep walking this path. Come back to these ideas. Live them. Pass them on. If this video resonated with you, if it opened something in your mind or heart, then this isn't the end. It's a beginning. There's more waiting for you here. More lessons, more reflections, more practice. So stay connected. Like, subscribe, and explore our full Stoic series. Not for entertainment, but for evolution. Because nobody's coming to save you. But that's okay. You're strong enough to save yourself.